In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagvata, there is a section which is quite important in our Bhagavad Gita, which begins with the prominent verse from the songs of the Gopis. This verse is quite well known. At the same time, it may not be understood on the basis of its entirety of what this means. So you can bring me the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It has chapter 31 in it. So you may repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And the book is better. You don't have the 10th canto here. You asked a very important question, so I have to respond to it by referring to this 10th canto. I can see the whole set of Srimad Bhagavatam there. What's going on? Tenth canto, chapter 31, verse 9. And there's references of it by Srila Prabhupada in other places also. You have Chaitanya Charitamrita here? Prabhu, go into your computer, put the verse Tava Katamritam Tapta Jivanam in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. See where is it? It was referenced. I'm not so familiar with these things. Still, everyone, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, couldn't get the Chaitanya, couldn't get it then. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Can you bring this here? Okay. So I'm looking at the translation of Srila Prabhupada. In the 10th canto, the translation is by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. So you can repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. The one asking about the Chaitanya Buddha, what's about the Buddha? Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Chapter 14, Performance of the Vrindavan Pastimes, Text number 13. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kaviviriditam kalmasapaham Shravanamangalam Srimad Atatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Burida Jana. The word for word, Tava, Yo, Kata Amritam, the nectar of words, Tapta Jivanam, life for persons very much aggrieved in the material world, Kavibi, by greatly exalted persons, Iditam, described, Kalmasha Apaham, that which drives away all kinds of sinful reaction. Shravana Mangalam, giving all spiritual benefit to anyone who hears. Srimad, filled with all spiritual power. Atatam, broadcast all over the world. Bhuvi, in the material world. Grinanti, chant and spread. Ye, those who. Burida, most beneficent. Jana, persons. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. This principal verse is spoken by the gopis in the 10th canto, chapter 31. This is text number 9. it begins with this particular verse, which is famously known as the Gopi Gita. And this is the initial verse that begins the consciousness of how to enter into the Gopi Gita, which will respond to Prabhu's question about Mahajana Ekata Sapanta. So the translation by Srila Prabhupada. The gopis are...
The gopis are...
No. I'm saying that the gopis are saying this verse. You want to say the words, that's fine. My Lord, the nectar of your words, and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those who are always aggrieved in this material world. And these narrations are transmitted by exalted personalities, and they eradicate all sinful reactions. Whoever hears these narrations attains all good fortune. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Those who spread the message of Godhead are certainly the most munificent welfare workers. Unquote. Purport. This verse is Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-9. That's the one-line purport by Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnana Atimirandasya Ajnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this particular verse spoken by the gopis when Krishna left them, it's called the songs of separation, the Gopi Gita. So Tava Katamrita means the nectar of your words, as Srila Prabhupada gives us here in this translation. And Tapta Jivana means it brings jiva, it brings life to those who are aggrieved in the material world. Now this is quite astonishing, because the gopis are very intimate associates of Radha Krishna. So how come they know that people are suffering in the material world? It's quite unique, because they don't live in the material world. And not only that, Kavi bir editam, and then it says, Kalmasha Salpaham. And that means which drives away all sinful reactions. Now what do the gopis know about sin and sinful reactions and karma? How come they're using these particular words? But they are in the spiritual world. And not only that, Shravana Mangalam, the gopis are saying that those who hear the pastimes and the narrations of Sri Krishna, it gives so much auspiciousness and spiritual benefit to them. So in other words, they are indirectly indicating that people who do not hear will not get any benefit. And to put that even more precisely, Srimad Artatam indicates that this glories of Krishna with his intimate associates is Artatam. It is broadcast all over the world. Which world are they speaking about? See? It is not the spiritual world. Yeah. And what's that? Bhuvi Grinanti means it is chanted and spread all over the world. See? And such a personality is called Bhrihad, Bhrihad Janaha. Bhrihad means that personality is so magnanimous or beneficent or beneficent that is spreading the glories of Radha Krishna all over the world. So you can understand from this verse by the gopis, they are indicating that there's some personality who will do this. They themselves will not do it, because they are intimate associates of Radha Krishna. So they're indicating that someone amongst them, because they're not speaking about someone in the material world, but they're speaking about the material world, tapta jivanam, that this glories of Radha Krishna will bring life or relief of those who are aggrieved and suffering in the material world. So this is quite unique. So it is indicated that there's somebody amongst them who will have to leave their association, but take the consciousness of their association with Radha Krishna and broadcast it all over the world. Bhuvi Nigranti. It is chanted and spread. Bhuridajana, by that personality. And there's only one personality like that who did this. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki. So they are speaking about somebody who's amongst them, who will take their consciousness, that person already had the consciousness and go out and spread. So in one book that I wrote called Path to Goloka Vrindavana Testimony, I quote the verse that you asked the question about. In my chapter chapter 1. So this is from Sri Padyavali, text 74, and it's quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 13th text 80, and it says, Naham viprona chanarapatir napi vaishyo na sudro Naham varni nacha grihapatirno vanasto yatirva Kintu prodyan nikila paramananda purnam ritam de gopi bhata padakamalayo dasa anudas. Translation. I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya or a Sudra, nor am I a brahmachari, a householder, a vanaprastha or a sannyasi. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Shri Gaurnitai ki jai. I'll just read that sentence again. I identify myself only as the servant of the servant of the servant of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis. He is like an ocean of nectar and he is the cause of universal transcendental bliss. He is always existing with brilliance. From Sri Padyavali, text 74 as quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13, text 80. So, the question was asked about Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalayo, Dasa Anudas, in relation to Mahajana Yegata Sapanta, to follow in the footsteps of the Mahajas. So when I read from this verse, Srila Prabhupada several times indicated, and different devotees have narrated it. Two devotees, especially that come to, I remember who narrated this, is Makanlal Prabhu, who later entered the sannyasa ashram as His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami, and is late now. And another devotee related the similar thing is His Grace Bhavananda Prabhu. So they both mention that Srila Prabhupada said that Sri Shyama Sundar Krishna requested our Srila Prabhupada to come to the material world and preach. And Srila Prabhupada indicated that he was not looking forward to that and he was reluctant to go. See? So in keeping with that, we see that sometimes the gopis, in this verse, Tava Katamritam Tapta Jivanam, are you chanting? You can't do both. You can chant outside if you like, or you can hear what we are discussing. You can't do both. You're inattentive to both. Is that okay? So, Tava Katamritam Tapta Jivana means sometimes the eternal associates of Radha Krishna, they are given an indication that there are people suffering in the material world. But they don't have any idea of what that means. See? So the highest feature of love in Goloka Vrindavan is when the gopis are relating this particular verse where Krishna leaves the Rasa Lila and goes away. And it plunges the gopis into feelings of separation. And that's how this verse is spoken. However, the highest feature of love in the material world is called compassion, which is not there in Goloka Vrindavan. In Goloka Vrindavan, there's feelings of separation, which the gopis are exhibiting here, transforming it into serving in separation. So serving in separation means to serve those who separated themselves from Krishna and who are executing the material desires, to bring them back to Radha Krishna. So that's what is indicative here, that one amongst these eternal associates will leave our association with feelings of separation to serve in separation in the material world and bring those who are suffering due to cutting off the relationships of separating themselves from Radha and Krishna and come back to the spiritual world. That's why Srila Prabhupada descended here. At the same time, Srila Prabhupada descended through the medium of the disciplic succession. In keeping with being a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when Srila Prabhupada was absorbed in this particular verse of the gopis' feeling of separation from Krishna when he left the rasa dance, Srila Prabhupada coined his own translation of this verse. And that's when the proof comes that the gopis were indicating that personality will be Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, will come to this material world, tapta jivanam, that the glories of the Lord will be spread, bhuvi nigranti, chanted and spread, or atatam, Srimad Atatam, that we broadcast all over the world. And by that personality who's Burida, to everyone who's jnana, compassionate. So when Srila Prabhupada made this statement, which is quoted by His Holiness Giriraj Swami, which is also in this book at the end, the Path to Goloka Vrindavan, a testimony. So Srila Prabhupada simply said that if one wants to develop the love of the gopis for Krishna, then one must spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, which is in keeping with this verse, Tava katamritam tapta jivanam. And that's the heart, and that's the consciousness of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada. And that gives meaning to the line Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalayo Dasa Dasa Anadasa. And that gives meaning to Mahajana Yagata Sapanta in disciplic succession by following the previous acharyas and the previous Mahajans. Thank you for the question. Next comment or next question. Microphone to the back.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Sudhir Prabhu gave that
Can you,
Mahajan,
okay,
the Sudhir Prabhu he asked the question Maharaj. That question itself I am not able to understand, both the questions.
who asked the question?
Sudhir Prabhu.
I know, it's Sudhir Chaitanya.
Sudhir Prabhu.
You said just Sudhir, I was wondering was somebody else. Okay?
So,
So,
not able to understand these two questions, how it differs.
What was his question?
Why it is a question? She
I'm
saying,
not understanding.
I'm ignorant of both codes. This code also I'm ignorant of, that code also I'm ignorant of.
No, correlating.
How correlated is both codes? Differs.
give Sudhir Chaitanya Prabhu the microphone. Now repeat your question.
I will repeat my question.
Repeat your question, which I already answered.
In the Srimad Bhagvata it is mentioned that Mahajana Yena Gatha Sapantha.
One should follow in the footsteps of the great authorities and devotees.
Then we see that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he taught us that we get into the mood of Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayo Dasa 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 Dasa.
Which I described in detail with this verse from Srimad Bhagvata.
So how do we see a connection in this? Is it a step in the transcendence or how to understand this too?
I give him the microphone back. Thank you for that. No, 1 second. I had understood your question. Now I ask you a question to answer your own question. Who is the greatest devotee of Sri Krishna?
Who follows the footsteps of previous acharyas. And who spread the Krishna consciousness.
Who knows how to love and serve Krishna the best? Let him answer.
And like Prabhupada, spreading whoever are suffering in this material world, spreading Krishna consciousness to them. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whoever spreads my message, he is the most dearmost.
And that is in this verse I also read. The gopis are indicating that there's someone amongst them as the eternal source who will come here. Burida Jana. Who is that person who will come and do that? See? When Srila Prabhupada was very young, who did Gaur Mohan De, his father, pray to? That Prabhupada becomes a devotee of that person. Who is that person? Are you reading Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita? See, he's telling you the answer. I can see he's telling you the answer. He needs to know. No, not you. Who is that person that that Gaur Mohan De, Srila Prabhupada's father, prayed to, that he becomes a great devotee of? Any of the Matajis know? Yes, Mataji, tell us loudly.
The gopis,
Who amongst the gopis?
Radha of the gopis is Srimati Radha.
Yes, it's Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani knows how to love and serve Krishna the best. Yes or no? And who did Gaur Mohan De pray to, that Srila Prabhupada becomes an intimate devotee of? Yes. So that is Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalayu Dasa Daso Anadas. See? So who is the sum total of all Mahajans? is representing the previous acharyas? Who is representing the Mahajans for us?
Radha, Srimati Radha.
No. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. So, when we say we're following in the footsteps of the Mahajans, that is coming from Srila Prabhupada. See? But when we say we're following the footsteps of the eternal associates of Radha Krishna, that is coming from Radharani. So Srila Prabhupada is an intimate associate of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Srimati Radharani. So they both match.
Can't clear. Thanks for that.
Now it got
Now you
clear.
can't clear.
Not clear.
Can't clear.
Or got clear. So we cannot fool around in our practices in Krishna consciousness. It's not that cheap. One really has to plug in. One really has to tune in to genuinely practice Krishna consciousness and make internal spiritual progress. It's not like Radhe, Radhe, Radhe Shyam. Is that cheap? So therefore, Gopi Bhatta Pada Kamalayo, Dasa Dasa Anudasis, is a very deep consciousness of anyone. And this particular verse, which begins the Gopi Gita, songs of separation, clearly indicates that amongst them, that personality has come amongst us in the form of his Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As much as Vrinda Devi has come in the form of Tulsi Maharani to be amongst us. Next comment or question, anyone? Give the microphone to Bhakti Vinod Prabhu. He is a Thakurji. Yes, Thakurji.
What were you expecting?
I'm expecting the unexpected from you. Everyone
I
knows
have
you.
a question, but it's a troublesome question. I can't ask you.
You have a question?
That's a troublesome question.
Yes. In other words, when was the time you did not give trouble? Give us more trouble. Come on, we'll welcome it. Go ahead.
No. Otherwise, I'm going to change the question.
And that's your independence. You do whatever you need to do. Go ahead.
But first of all, I have to
Hold the microphone close.
I have to thank you for such an amazing. First of all, I have to thank Sri Chaitanya for coming up with that question. That's the most wonderful question so far I've heard in this conference. Because he has seen what it means, what is the depth of the both ideas, what is the depth of it, and you explained it very nicely. How it ties in with each other. And you went to the Parampara's part of it when the Mahajane, and he went to the Gopi the separation of the gopis, and it tied very nicely and very beautifully in scripture. So I want to thank you for that. Very heartily. I'm glad I did this. I'm very happy. Okay, so I'm changing my question deliberately, but I'm telling you, in page 28 of this book,
Page
28 of this book, there is a...
This book?
No, that over there. That's it. That's it.
This book. So give the book to him, tell him to read from page 28.
The living entity and the Supreme Lord, though distinct from one another, always remain together. Quote, the same living entity is eternal and is joined to the Supreme Lord by the tie of an eternal kinship, Brahma Samhita. They are joined intimately as two distinct individuals eternally. The living entity must simply agree to accept the supreme will of the Supreme Lord. Then he will be happy.
So it says it's a quotation from Brahma Samhita. So I was wondering whether you remember that verse. What verse it is?
I'll have to go to the Brahma Samhita myself. Offhand, I wouldn't know right now.
Okay, you'll be it.
That's not troublesome question. I'm waiting for your troublesome question.
Don't look for it. No,
This particular explanation, I know the book well. It indicates that the living entity, the Lord, although both are spiritual, but they are individual simultaneously. There's no becoming one. That's all. But if it has a reference to Brahma Samhita, it may be an indirect reference, possibly. But there's many direct references in Prabhupada's purport. Next question. Any of the Vaishnavis, Matajis have question? Yes, there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you
Hi,
very much.
what's
for
your
the
name? What's
class
your
going on.
name?
My name is Sucharu Padmadevi Dasi.
Sue?
Sucharu Padmadevi Dasi.
Yes.
Maharaj, most often we come across this word offense to Vaishnavas. But many a times we see, though we intentionally don't mean to offend, how do we actually understand what is an offense? Because it is very deep. We have no any intentions of offending, but we just say something and then someone feels offended. Is that on a material platform? But actually, how do we understand what is an offense? How do we need to be careful about it?
The original nature of offense is that we cut off our relationship with Radha Krishna. We separated ourselves from devotional service and then landed in the material world, from one species to another. And then finally we come to the human life and then get a chance to, come out of our conditioning and purify ourselves in devotional service. So that's the original offense. So in order to rekindle ourselves, not to offend others by the way, we get back to reviving, as Prabhupada says, reviving our original relationship with Radha Krishna. And if that foundation or basis is not there to revive our original relationship with Radha Krishna, then one will tend to offend others who are called devotees, who are trying to revive their original relationship with Radha Krishna. So that means that the Guru Parampara or disciplic succession have given us the process to revive our original relationship with Radha Krishna. And that is the only or principal positive vow that we practice before initiation, and then just for some hour or so during initiation, and then for the rest of our lives after initiation, is to chant a minimum of 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Japa daily. However, if you have other priorities other than chanting one's round attentively, by chanting and hearing, which is the first activity when you arise in the morning, without neglecting your duty as a mother, father, husband, wife, son or daughter to the family, don't neglect that and be irresponsible also. If you do not do that, then you are bound to commit offenses unknowingly and then knowingly more and more to other devotees. So the root offense is that we have separated ourselves and cut off ourselves not to serve Radha Krishna. And the positive way to come about to rekindle the relationship to serve Radha Krishna to the mercy of the Guru Parampara and the Panchatattva is to chant our rounds daily in the morning.
Thank you, Maharaj, for kindly, very nicely defining what actually offenses. Thank
The
you.
root of all offenses is offending Radha Krishna. And then the root of all offenses will be now to offend the Panchatattva, if you don't chant your rounds in the morning. And the immediate root of all offenses is to disobey the order of Srila Prabhupada. Who makes it very clear that the most essential instruction of the spiritual master is to chant a minimum of 16 rounds of japa daily. No matter how much you try to become free from offending devotees, if you do not do this, your offending devotees will just become increasing and more complicated. There's a testimony in our movement that those who are also serving even as GBC members, or as initiating gurus, or even as sannyasis, or even as temple presidents, they all left devotional service due to one thing: offending devotees. And the root cause of offending devotees is that they became weak in not chanting their japa. All of them. And then those who initiate but don't chant the japa, their disciples will not be disciples to chant japa. Because when they leave the planet, they'll also leave devotional service. They won't have the strength to continue. And that has been also proven in our movement. So therefore, offenses arise just due to that. It's the root. Bhakti is the root of devotional service. To chant one's japa in the morning.
Thank you very much.
And don't chant japa to make a show that you're chanting japa, so that others are impressed by you, to follow you as a good example. No. One must chant japa because one needs to become nourished and be given spiritual strength to continue. It's an individual relationship with Radha Krishna. Personally, I have a lot of anxiety about that. I'm concerned and worried about it. Because there's tens and thousands of devotees who are initiated. But whether they're chanting the japa nicely or not even chanting, nobody knows. And that's the responsibility of the initiating guru. Because they took the vows from him. And he's responsible to ensure that they carry the vows. You have to, if you adopt a child and neglect the child as a parent, then you're irresponsible. So don't adopt children on behalf of Radha Krishna and do not take care of them. That's irresponsible. Srila Prabhupada told his disciples, don't make me like Alexander the Great. So this Alexander, you may have heard of him. So he used to conquer one territory, and he didn't have the intelligence. He had the intelligence to conquer, but he didn't have the intelligence to consolidate. See? So he conquered one territory, and then he left the territory, but he didn't consolidate to maintain it under his rule. Then he goes to the next new territory to conquer. So the old ones are being conquered by somebody else. Then he realized, I'm conquering, but I'm not consolidating, and I'm conquering more, but I'm not adding to my empire. So he's losing. So therefore Srila Prabhupada said, don't make me like Alexander the Great. And that's when Srila Prabhupada made the famous statement. It's more important to take care of a devotee than to make new devotees. And he said, boil the milk. Don't give watered down milk. And from quality, quantity automatically increases. But if you just increase quantity, there'll be no quality. So it's a very, very important thing to chant our japa. And it's not good enough to say that you should chant your japa, but you're not following up to check whether they are chanting the japa. You cannot say, please chant your japa. But you have to give a support system to help them to chant their japa. It's a very important thing in our movement. So it's very easy to chant your japa when you live in the temple because you follow the morning program. And that was during Prabhupada's time. But now we are more congregationally based. It's hard to know. Who's chanting and who's not chanting. And nobody knows. But the Super Soul knows. So from that, all offenses will disappear. Even the tendency to offend will disappear. So one disciple asked that question to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada took risks in many ways because he's the founder Acharya. Is there? He's second to none and nobody can take his place. Srila Prabhupada said, I have taught you and I have trained you that every morning before you chant your japa, you must offer Vaishnava pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patita nam pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. And that's what we do in the temple, right? Yeah. So before we chant our japa, we do Vaishnava pranams. So we're offering obeisances to all the unlimited Vaishnavas, even we don't know. So then when we chant japa, we can hear. And when you hear the japa, you'll have a tendency not to offend, especially Vaishnavas. Now if you don't know the Vaishnava pranam mantra and you initiate it, what will you do? And if you forgot to say it because you live in the congregation and then you chant your japa, then you are prone to offend. Because you always have to offer obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. And the Vaishnavas automatically include your Shiksha Gurus and your Diksha Guru and the whole Guru Parampara. So we have a tendency to offend those we are living amongst in the same community. See? So now that kind of offense is extended into the internet or social media. And you'll talk ill about somebody you haven't even met and don't know. It gets worse. See? It doesn't make sense you talk about somebody you don't know in an offensive way. So therefore it's most important that positive vow to connect us to the disciplic succession. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Japa. Is that okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm talking about the root. I'm not talking about the incidental ways and branches and sub-branches. The root cause is that. What time do we conclude for today? Because he had one more question. Bring the microphone.
Maharaj, somewhere down the line in devotional service, don't know when and how the element of impersonalism creeps into a devotee in terms of relationship, devotional service, staying on course. But among all this, I see that this impersonalism creeps in with regard to devotee relationships. So, what would be the immediate cause or the root cause, remote cause of this impersonalism creeping into person, consciousness or mind in this elaborate?
We can respond to your query in various ways, but the initial response from me would be that the influence of Kali is penetrating the lives of devotees. And I discussed that a little bit briefly this morning in terms of only honoring Krishna Prasada. Because Vacha Vegam, Jiva Vegam, the tongue has two functions, to vibrate sound and to taste. So if you're tasting foodstuffs that are not offered to the Lord and cooked by devotees, then you're going to get affected in your whole consciousness. And then you'll have a tendency to associate more with devotees than devotees. So that's one problem, that the influence of Kali is increasing in devotees' lives. Kali has already influenced those who are not devotees. They don't even know that. That's one. And the other thing is that impersonal is creeping in is because we are talking about quantity rather than quality. You know, we are quick to say we have 500,000 initiated devotees or something. But we are not quick to say that how many are following the four executive principles. See? So when we propagate externals and not the internal state of Krishna consciousness, and that's what you'll get. Okay. Impersonalism starts when somebody you're taking shelter of tells you, I have no time for you. That's how it starts. The person is meant to take care of you, but the person has no time for you. That's impersonalism. So in order to overcome that, do not change others. Do not change others. Only you change. Don't worry about others who are being impersonal. Don't worry about that. That's not going to give value to your life. What will give value to your life is that you change. So there's various examples I can give in principle, but the detail may vary, or other types of examples can be similar. So the first thing is that how you change is that in the traditional Krishna conscious culture is that the youngest member of the family is served the most. Just like in a normal, regular, cultured family, the youngest child is served and protected the most. See? So therefore that type of Vaishnava seva amongst the community of devotees is not fully there yet in ISKCON. They have a tendency to serve the Guru. They have a tendency to serve a sannyasi. They have a tendency to serve somebody in a position like temple president or GBC member. But they don't have a tendency to serve that devotee who just joined 2 weeks ago. And yet that person needs more protection and care and serving than those who are already experienced in devotional service. For example, actual prasadam distribution means that you must take the Raj Bhog Mahaprasad from the temple and give it to those who are not devotees yet. You can take it out, there's so many people right around the temple. And say, you take this laddu, you take this sabji, take the chapati or puri. So those people need more protection and care, who are innocent and ignorant and not devotees yet. And then after that, those people who are most recently joined as devotees should be served more. Now you can imagine that a devotee was just like 2 weeks with us. Now you can imagine if all the other older devotees than him in devotional service, not maybe in age necessarily, say, do you need anything? And so forth. Can I wash your clothes? But normally it's the other way around. The new ones must wash the old ones' clothes. You get it? Can I take your plate and wash? Can you be first to take prasadam and then after that we will take? Because we are like experienced members in the family. You are just coming now. We want to serve you. So when that person is served like that, when he is in the beginning stages of his or Krishna consciousness, when they become mature and older devotees, what will they do? They'll do the same. Whereas those who are younger devotees, you tell them, you clean the toilet. See? So then he says, I have to go through this. I'll become older and then somebody will clean the toilet for me. But we're not talking about those who are sick, those who are elderly in age and so forth. That's different. But those who are able to should serve the younger ones. Then this impersonal will be kicked out. Vaishnava Seva. And Vaishnava Seva is so easy and simple. They are around you in your own community. Not that when Bhakti Bhrihad Bhagavata Swami comes on, we serve him. And then when he goes, I don't serve anyone else. So that's one way. And to deepen that, Vaishnava Seva, to deepen that, you should serve those who you do not like first. And don't tell that person I'm serving you because I don't like you. You should serve somebody you do not like. Because you have to remove the dislike, otherwise you'll become impersonal to that person. Because you have to be favorable to everyone, including those who are not devotees yet, who are innocent in their ignorance, to go back home, back to Golok. So that's the secret to overcome impersonalism on an individual basis. Don't change others, you just be the one to change. It's easy to serve somebody that you're attached to, right? It's easy to serve somebody that you like. But Vaishnava Seva must be done without any prejudice and without any discrimination. Because that prejudice and discrimination is not there in Goloka Vrindavan. Thank you for the nice question. But remember, don't change others. Do not? You change. That's all. Don't say, I am changing to change you. No. There should be no motivation at all. It should be pure, that I am only changing. I'm not changing to change you. That is motivated. That is. And don't try to be an acharya. Don't try to change others by your example externally, and internally you're doing something else. So this is what is called the deepest personalism. Imagine serving somebody who doesn't like you. The person may ask you, I gave you so much trouble, Why are you still serving me? They may ask you. You just say, no, I just like serving everyone without any prejudice and discrimination, including you. Really? Yes, I'll serve you. Even if you kick me, I'll serve you. Even if you give me a bad name, I'll still serve you. It may not be so easy, but that's called genuine Vaishnava Seva. You don't make discrimination and prejudice. This is higher, lower. I'll get more mercy by serving my guru. I'll get less mercy by serving that person. What is that? It's all low-class mentality. So it's important to serve Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis without prejudice or discrimination.
Doesn't this call for a devotee to be on a Madhyama platform?
Don't worry about what platform. All you have to do is feel that you are so low that you're only pushing people up. Not that you're so high that everyone must serve you and you push them down and keep them as your followers. Become the foundation stone of others. Let them trample you, but you push them up. This Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttama discussion in the scriptures is not for you. It's for you to see it in others and help accordingly. So therefore, and I'll conclude with this statement now, then I'll go to the books. And therefore, purity is the force means to have the force or potency to see purity in others. Never at any one moment feel that I am engaged in devotional service so that I'll become pure. You are engaged in devotional service because purity is the force, to have the force or potency to see purity in others. That's all. Not that also when I see purity in others I'll become pure. No. That's also motivated. It's contaminated. So when you do that, you'll always be low to always push people up. But if you feel you're pure, you can only fall. But if you see the purity in others, you can only push them up and you'll serve them. It's not a question of feeling fallen. It's actually activity in substance to serve Vaishnavas like that. Is that okay? So we have two books here. One is The Dancing White Elephants, traveling with Srila Prabhupada in India, August 1972, March 1972. Who was here in my presentation yesterday afternoon, evening? You were here? Yes. So this is how they struggle to establish Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada calls it Western Body Device, Disciples Dancing White Elephant. So if you need a copy of the book, it's here. You can get it from Dinesh. It sells for $20, which is 1,800 rupees in the West. Here it sells for 1/3 the price, for 600 rupees. 1/3, Indian price. And then I wrote a book called Path to Goloka Vrindavan, a Testimony. And this was during the COVID lockdown. I was in Mauritius for 1 year, 6 months. And they didn't get much COVID there because it's an island surrounded by the ocean. So I knew this Mataji, her name is Kamala Devi Dasi, for over 20 years. She had cancer for about 3 years previous to her passing away. And I spent the last 10 days with her from May 13th to May 22nd in 2020. So I didn't know that her oldest son was a PhD engineer living in Canada who was there at that time. He was recording it on his phone. The phone was on in the room, I didn't know. So this book is a conversations that I had with Kamala Devi Dasi, and it shows you how one can be helped to go back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan, and how you can help others and how you can be helped also. And there's a lot of pastimes, leelas in this book also. That is there. I didn't plan anything, it's just a free flow. I had the books with me, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita and the books. And she went back home, back to Goloka Vrindavan from Mauritius. She didn't need to take birth in Boma Vrindavan, neither in Krishna's eternal pastimes, one of the universes. She went direct there. And I give all the evidence of that in the appendixes in the back by Srila Prabhupada, how somebody can go back. You can go back right here from Sri Jagannath Mandir. So there's two evidences. One is to go the way, taking birth in Boma Vrindavan, then Krishna's pastime in the universe, and then going to Golok. Or you can go directly to Golok. She went directly, which is not mentioned in the book explicitly because the book would have been 2.5 times the volume. Some things we have to leave out because it's for general readership of devotees. So if you want this book, you can take a copy and you can give whatever donation you like. But if you don't have donation, then just take a copy. But one copy. Okay? So who's in charge of this book here? You. And there's a different, what do you call that scan thing? There's a QR code for the different books. Like that. Is that all right? And that's the goal, to go back home, back to Golok. And if Krishna wants to send you back here, like how he said Prabhupada, he'll do that. To continue the preaching. So these two devotees will assist you with that, if you like to avail yourselves with this. Yesterday evening, afternoon, we already got all the books sponsored for the brahmacharis here. But I think the Path to Goloka is not sponsored. Bring the book. So how many of you would like to sponsor 12 books for the brahmacharis here? Oh, raise your hand.
You read it.
They already started reading. I gave one to Vraja Krishna and he read and he gave a whole class to the brahmacharis about the book. So now they want their own copy. Who would like to sponsor for the brahmacharis, this small book? You don't know how much yet, eh? Okay, you see them. How many books you'll sponsor? You want to sponsor some too? So you come together and we get other sponsored book we'll give to the students and the bases. There's 80 of them. So you come and see them. How many you'd like to sponsor? So there's 12, 24, so we can give some to the students and the base. You come to them. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrind ki. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki. Natai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare.